All right, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Cheatham County School District, the Director of Schools, Kathy Beck, and Cheatham Middle School Principal, Jason Pierschbacher, let me start by thanking everybody for being out here today. I have definitely had the pleasure of speaking with a lot of you over the last couple of weeks as you've grown interest in this unique relationship that Cheatham Middle and the University of Cincinnati have found themselves in regarding trademark and licensing concerns. I want to start by personally saying thank you to the media for how kind that you've been, sympathetic and understanding, to Cheatham Middle School and the Cheatham County School District during this whole process in your interviews and write-ups. I'm going to begin with a quick update on what is currently going on with Cheatham Middle School, the university, and CLC. We've had no communication with the collegiate licensing company since November 20th, 2025. On November 24th, 2 days after media outlets began to cover the story, I emailed CLC respectively requesting a few things from them. I have yet to get a response to that email. On December 3rd, I emailed CLC their requested timeline and schedule for removal letter that they requested in their cease and desist. Right now, we are just in a waiting pattern. We'll wait and see if our timeline for removal is approved or if we need to reevaluate or discuss any items further. So now that we're done with that, let's get on to the positive and exciting stuff and the reason that we're here. We began the search for a new Cheatham Middle School mascot with a blank survey sent directly to the students, the parents, and the faculty of Cheatham Middle School. A link went out to the public so the community could participate as well. The first round of voting allowed everyone to submit their thoughts without any prompts as to what they thought the new Cheatham Middle School mascot should be, and more importantly, why they chose that. What was the significance and what was the reason behind their choice? We were excited at that time because we had over 900 responses to round one. What we did then was we took the top 4 choices that received the most votes and we moved them on to round number 2. For round 2, we sent our survey back out to those same groups, but now we added the students at Cheatham County Central High School. The student body at CCCHS was added because our final 4 for the mascot was the Cheatham County Cub. The Cheatham County Cub is a mascot for our longest and oldest high school in the county. And it's also the place that our Cheatham Middle School students will graduate after 8th grade. We thought 900 was a good number. Well, round 2 generated 2,866 votes. It's a mind-blowing response for any survey that we've sent out in the county. The results of round 2 were then taken to a roundtable discussion with a committee of district employees and stakeholders. 2 members of that committee that we were excited to be able to include were our elected board member that represents the area of our county that Cheatham Middle serves. And the other person was the person that held the doors open and welcomed the first students into Cheatham County Middle School, the first kids to ever call themselves Bearcats, and that's Miss Norma. Thank you. The results of round 2 were not intended to decide the school mascot, but they were to serve as a talking point or a percentage when weighing out your thoughts and feelings about each option. Now, the original plan was to take all that information discussed inside this committee back to a central office committee, a smaller group of about 4 people that would make the final decision on the school's new mascot. However, there was no need for that final step because that committee and that meeting ended with unanimous feelings about which direction we were all being pulled to. So it is my pleasure and my honor to announce, you have to bear with me. I always wanted to be an athlete. And I never got to do, signing day, right? I never got to do a signing day. But we would like to announce that the transition from the Cheatham Middle Bearcats to the Cheatham Middle School Musketeers will begin immediately. We first definitely want to acknowledge that the Cub was an obvious and strong popular choice. It was a popular option for the middle school to become a Cub as well. Ultimately, the same feelings, along with so many others that shared this feeling about Cheatham Middle School's identity and having their identity taken from them also held true for that oldest high school in the county. There's something special about becoming a Cub when you grow up in Ashland City. The anticipation and the path that all of us took to wear that title of Cheatham County Cub, we felt should stay with Cheatham County Central High School. There was valuable data that we collected in our surveys that showed us that we needed to respect and take into consideration the feelings of past and present Cubs about sharing their identity. Now, the Musketeer. Musketeer, a soldier, usually drawn from lower levels of society, that would march into battle alongside their brother. A group at their most powerful and most effective when they work together as one single unit. Musketeer, a friend, a buddy, or a close group of friends. Musketeer, an attitude of teamwork where members of the team will win or lose together. If these definitions and descriptions of a musketeer don't describe either who we are or who we should always strive to be, then I don't know what does. All for one and one for all. It's a simple phrase. We've all heard it, but we've probably never stopped to dissect the message that it's really teaching. This is going to be a big change for our students and our staff at Cheatham Middle, but just like in life, when obstacles stand in your way, hard times might be weighing on your shoulders, when you stand together side by side and work together as a single unit, anything is possible. All for one and one for all. That means, students, everyone, students and faculty, standing up for the individual when the individual is in need. And it means the individual is willing to stand alone and fight for everyone when they're in need. 2 years ago, Cheatham Middle School started a campaign for every student that walked through their doors to leave a legacy, leave your legacy. Well, 2024, Cheatham Middle Bearcats, now is your chance to leave your legacy. Embody and become the new 2025 Cheatham Middle School Musketeers. Thank you. We do understand that we have some of our local media here, so and we have some guests. If there's anyone that has any questions, this will be a time now that you'll be able to ask. Anyone?
You said it was like unanimous, so when y'all were in the room, what was the discussion like? I mean, it's like, hey, this is it, we just know.
We took our top four choices. Our top four choices were the Bobcats, the Cubs, the Coyotes, and the Musketeers. As I discussed, the feelings about Cubs, which again was a very popular choice and a very popular opinion. Bobcats, was surprised at the number we got for Bobcats, but our region and our district, we play a lot of Bobcats, so we didn't feel that it was necessary to add another Bobcat to our area. Coyotes was one that we could see the significance in our area out here in the farmlands, but when we all sat around and again talked about what Musketeer, it's just not a candy bar, it's just not a cool movie. When we really broke down the word Musketeer and what it meant and almost how it related to our situation of standing together, being positive and becoming one unit, moving forward, becoming one movement in the school. I talked with Mr. Piersbacher, Ms. Brinkley when we had that meeting, was this is not just changing a mascot. This is the beginning of a new movement inside Cheatham Middle School, and it's embodying and really grasping that all for one, one for all. We're at a time where it's important for kids to stick together, to feel as a part of, instead of a bunch of individuals, a part of one unit and one team. And this was the mascot that's going to do that for us.
It's been pretty, I guess, over time. It's not been the best of times. What's been the best part?
The best part is right now, right here today, is kind of reaching that point where we feel like we're on the back end of this now, where we can stop discussing all the negative and The things that brought us here actually aren't important anymore. It's the forward looking, the forward thinking. And as Dr. Beck tells us all the time, finding the good in everything. So the moment we decided to stop thinking about, the woe is me or the bad things that happen to us and focus on what are the goods in this, it was easy to get over that hump. So like right now is the most exciting time. Just not knowing what's to come, but being just really excited about where it's going to take us. Yes,
How
sir.
much of the decision on Musketeers, if I'm not mistaken, sounds like Xavier University had contacted you guys and not agreeing enough that they could help you, obviously, if you took their likeness? How much of that played into the factor of choosing the Musketeers with them kind of showing support for that?
Sure. I mean, I would be lying if I said it's not what got our attention. But I just had a meeting with that group from Cincinnati. They're alumni. It's not the university, so I want to be clear. The communication has been through alumni, and and we actually just talked about that. And yes, while it was it's what grabbed our attention because obviously this is going to be a financial hit to a lot of people, the county, our district, and more importantly, the students of Cheatham Middle School. Our sports teams are funded off the sweat off their backs, selling cookie dough, popcorn, candy bars, and they're going to take a hit. So yes, the financial help that those gentlemen offered with things like new uniforms and the rebrand package, obviously got our attention, but it quickly moved. It's not what it's about anymore. And the meeting that I just had with him was so refreshing because while this was also kind of just neat for them, because sports rivalries, it's a beautiful thing. If you've been in sports your whole life, there's nothing better than a good sports rivalry. But how quickly they transitioned to putting that aside, our meetings with them, they want to hear about the students of Cheatham Middle School. What is their background? Where are they going? Where have they been? They stopped thinking about that aspect of it. And right now they care about the kids at Cheatham Middle School. And that's their reason for helping. And that has quickly become our reason why we chose them.
And you called this, I think, a unique situation. That might be putting it mildly, considering everything that's been involved, and it's been such a quick turnaround. So for you, from your position, to have what happened and then so quickly get to where we are today, getting to celebrate a new name, I want to know that feeling for you. Is it, grateful that it's over, or what would be the word or sentence you use to kind of describe what's been kind of a tumultuous couple months here?
Again, I don't think it's over, but I think we're at the fun part of it now. But for our board, Mr. Piersbacher, Coach Carter, myself, I know this seems like it's been quick to everyone else because we just announced this to the public, but we have been behind the scenes going through this for well over a month, maybe over 2 months. We just didn't feel at that time because there was a lot of communication back and forth with CLC. I made a couple of proposals to them as well, and we wanted to see. I had hoped that those proposals would have been accepted, and I honestly, I really thought that they would. So if there was going to be a no harm, no foul moment, we didn't want to alert anyone too soon. So yes, it's been going on a lot longer from our offices, but so it definitely makes it a little sweeter to kind of come to this point.
And my final question for you, I'm hogging the floor, I apologize.
It's okay.
She's got a question.
Yes, she does.
I actually want her to go. I don't even want to do it now, but she's got a hand raised.
Go ahead.
Do you think it being changed to the Musketeers will affect future generations?
That's a good question.
You can work for it.
Yes. Again, I think the leave your legacy that Miss Owen, Miss Caphart, instilled a couple of years ago. I think this is the opportunity. If you want to know how it's going to affect future generations, it's about, like I said, a new attitude, a new feeling. We don't want our kids feeling like they're a part of a bunch of different little groups. We want Cheatham Middle School to be a huge family. Again, like I said, where you've got all of their backs when they need you, but they have your back when you need them most. And so we really hope that this is a culture change. And maybe kids in the future won't see it the way we do because they weren't the ones that went through it. But for some of us, if we're still around then, we'll see how it affects the future because we'll see a brand new Cheatham Middle School. Yes, ma'am.
A couple of questions just for clarification.
Mhm.
Number one, how much of a financial hit is this going to bring to the county for having to change logos and all of that? And for anybody that wants to help offset the hit that the county is going to take for this, how can they help? And also, is this something that any of the other mascots for any of the schools in the district may be in danger of facing?
Okay, I'll start with the financial hit. Easy answer is we don't know because we keep adding things every day. When we think we may have taken a complete inventory, we'll walk through the school and we'll see something else or something else pops up. So we're gathering that information almost daily. Obviously, you can look at things like gym floors, marquees, things like that they're obvious big ticket items, but there's a lot of little things that we're just picking up on every day. But we'll figure that out. And like you said, the good part is we've had people reach out and want to help. Our goal was to never, step out on social media and ask for help. That was never the intent. We were ready to deal with this head on and take responsibility for, what happened and our part in it. I've got a COO you'll have to talk to about accepting any donations or help. But we've had some vendors as well that we've done business with that are willing to step out and help us some things. And as the other gentleman brought up, Synergistics, the group of Xavier alum in Cincinnati are going to help with some uniforms and the rebrand and things like that. So we've gotten a lot of support, and we're taking it day by day.
Do you have a number, a figure as of right now, even though you said that will be subject to change as you continue to take?
I don't. I can tell you if you just want to do the math in your head, a gym floor is about $35,000 to $40,000, and a marquee is probably anywhere between 40 to 60. You can take those two items alone and do that math and just kind of add some to the top of it if you want. But as far as the other schools and their logos, we did our research and we knew that there's high schools, there's middle schools everywhere that use other professional and collegiate logos. I've learned a lot through this process. And, it's just not for me to say. There are a lot of colleges and professional organizations that work with high schools and middle schools. We just so happen to, be in a relationship with one that was not willing to negotiate or do that. So I just hope all those other schools, I don't wish this on any other school, and I hope they don't go through this. But it's really not for me to say if there's any fear or danger, because we've went 25 years without feeling there was any fear or danger of losing the one we have, and here it was on our doorstep.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Tough question now. Talk about sports, and people might not play sports. You wanted to throw it to the the excitement day, kind of get that feeling. That's an excitement thing for athletes. The name on the jersey for a lot of people might be like, well, why is that such a huge deal? In sports, it is a big deal because that's who you represent. You're the school, but then also you're a Musketeer. I want to know your feeling on why it was important to make sure that this got resolved, and even though it's still not technically final, but you wanted to make sure there was a resolution because for these athletes, they're playing for that name, right? That's on the front of their jersey, that mascot. It is valuable in sports. I just want to hear your take on that, why it is valuable to have that settled.
Yeah, I mean, all of us know I'm 49 years old, about to be 50, and I'm a Cub. I'm a Cheatham County Cub. I'll always be a Cub. And I think all of us in here know when you introduce yourself, we grew up, me and Miss Bellamy, in a time where if you went to Nashville and someone said, "Where are you from?" you don't say Ashland City. You don't say Pleasant View. I'm from Cheatham County. I think we're one of the very unique places in the state where we identify and recognize our county, not the city that we came from. So mascots here and names are really important. We grew up in a time where they'll tell you a cub is not the most fierce animal out there. It doesn't instill fear in your opponents. It didn't matter. We were Cubs, and we knew that these kids felt the same way. This is the first generation where we've got kids here in front of us today whose parents, and we're getting close to that time where grandparents were Bearcats. So we know that it was important to them. But like you said, from a sports standpoint, there are things that just have to happen. Coach Carter will tell you he has to order uniforms for next year in the winter and spring to make sure that they get here. So we knew we couldn't hesitate and take a lot of time. So we had to, you have to have a mascot before you can get artwork. You got to have artwork before you can send those renderings, to our vendors to get these kids their uniforms, school swag, things like that. So we knew we had to. We couldn't drag our feet on this one.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Why did you choose here?
Why did I choose where?
Choose here.
Chose here? You mean in this building? Well, okay. You guys have good questions. We can get into it. So our county has guidelines and policies on media being in the school. You've got a student body of about 300 to 400 kids, and there are a lot of parents that choose to not have their children on camera, on video, and regardless sometimes whether news comes for a negative story or like these gentlemen who come for a positive story, we try to keep consistent in our guidelines. So it's hard to tell one person that you can't come into school during school hours, but then allow another one. So this is an example of us being consistent and also respecting parents who would rather not have their children be in pictures or on camera. And that's why we sent permission slips out with all you guys. So we know that you guys are okay to be here and your parents are okay for you to be here. So that's why we invited you out here today. Yes, ma'am.
Saying we're finishing out winter sports as Bearcats, but in the spring, will we continue to be Bearcats for those sports?
It's still just going to be a transition. Like I said, a lot of that was put in that timeline for removal to the University of Cincinnati and their marketing company. It would be silly to think that we can snap our fingers overnight and do a full turnover. So it'll be a transition. There are things that were broken down in that timeline as immediate, and then by the end of school, by the beginning of school, by Christmas of next year. We have to wait and see if they've accepted that timeline. But you're 100% right. I was asked a question today from Coach Carter about cheerleading. Well, they've got competitions coming up. All their cheers are about being a Bearcat, and we told them, don't change a thing. Do the routines that you have mastered and have won competitions with, and continue to do that. Ideally, the first of the school will be our goal for a full transition, but we know that there are going to be, it's going to be some time to get it all done. But again, knock on wood, our hopes are that summer will be a good time to get a lot of this done, and that we can start the year full-fledged 100% Musketeers.
We've got one.
Yes, ma'am.
You want to talk a little bit about the uniqueness of the name and kind of how that was important in choosing the original name?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd also add that that gives 3 human.
Yeah, absolutely. When you guys went to elementary school, you were Wildcats, Panthers, Cougars. A couple of the unique angles that we looked at this. One, Miss Norma, I've met with her so many times, probably over the last 3 months, and she's been wonderful. For you kids that don't know that beautiful lady right there, Miss Norma, she was the first principal of Cheatham Middle School, and so it was her job to help get some of those things together. She was absolutely, I think one of the most important things to her was, please don't change my colors. Please don't change my colors. And so we were happy to be able to keep that for her. But she chose the Bearcat for a couple of reasons. One, because you were in elementary school, you were a cat. And while a cub is a baby bear, it's still a bear. So the combination of bear and cat made sense to her. But then also just the uniqueness that there's not a lot of, Bearcats out there. There's not a lot of schools utilizing that. I know because I found them. I counted. And so the Musketeer is also a very unique mascot. I think we did a quick Google search the other day just in our area, and we only found 7. So again, we think that we have unique students. So we felt that a unique mascot was fitting. Yes, sir.
do you have any like picture of how our mascot is?
That's a good question. Absolutely, that's a good question. I don't right now, guys. We just have this up here. The company sent us this real quick, but I learned that just because I ask for something real fast, you're not always going to get it. Sometimes you have to wait. And the company that's helping us with this mascot has explained to me that this process, because they take it so serious and they want to be so detailed about that artwork, that it usually takes about 90 to 120 days. That being said, they understand the urgency of us hurrying up and getting a mascot. So our rebrand package is going to have several different versions of a mascot for you guys to choose from. And what I mean by choose is they will all be authorized logos. So if maybe you play on the basketball team and the basketball wants to use this one, that will be fine. But they have promised me that we will have our first one by January. So hopefully when we come back from Christmas, we will have our first official Cheatham Middle School Musketeer logo that your coaches, your teachers can start printing and putting on uniforms and shirts. Yes, ma'am.
When will, like because we have like Bearcat graffiti and stuff
Mhm.
in school. When will that open?
That'll probably be a summertime project. When the kids are gone and the halls are quiet, that'll be something that we address in the summer. Yes, ma'am.
What about the summer practices?
What about them?
Like for volleyball
Mm-hmm.
in the gym?
Yeah. There's a real small timeline when it comes to doing work in the gymnasium, because we all know that the schools nowadays, you might be out for summer, but schools do not close. They're open year round. Every sport has become a year round activity. And so we just found that our sweet spot, if you will, is the month of June. So keeping in mind that volleyball starts up usually around July. Basketball with travel teams and preseason practices, those usually get hot and heavy. The good thing is with sports, we have a dead period for all sports. So we know that the last week of June and the first week of July, there's no athletics going on at all. So if you combine the month of June into the dead period, that'll be our perfect timing for trying to get the gym done. All right. Well, again, I want to thank you guys for coming out. We appreciate it. Yes.
Jeff needs to be round of applause for everything.
I'm sorry. And you can keep those going again for the other people that are in this room. Miss Norma, Coach Harden, Coach Carter, Mr. Pierschbacher, and Dr. Beck and Miss Brinkley. This has been kind of a labor of love, for you kids. And, we wanted to do the best we could by you and by the community. And we really feel strongly in our hearts that this was the right choice. And this is the best choice to represent Cheatham Middle School. And because of that, on your way out, and you guys are welcome to mingle for a little while and talk to these people, but we've got some 3 Musketeers back in the back on your way out of the door. So hopefully it'll become your new favorite candy. But thank you guys again for coming out. And again, to the news stations and the media, thank you guys for how kind that you've been to us during this time. Thank you so much.